Can I make it? Can I make it? I made it. Oh, that fall air coming into my helmet. Oh! Yeah, I gotta clean the horse pasture, but I gotta let the ground dry out. It rained. It rained last night. Let's see how much rain we got. I keep walking by the thing. Take a shortcut. Okay, the ditch wasn't muddy, so it ain't too much. We got like a ½ inch last night. Okay, so 3/4 total. We got twice as much rain after I went to sleep as we got before I went to sleep. We needed a shot of rain though, for real. Like, it was pretty bad. Thinking about the airport, I think they got the airport closed because they were doing a remote control air show out there, and they had it closed down. They're closed down. That means I could just ride out there, you know, do some wheelies on the taxiway. That'd be fun. It's wide enough that I can practice steering a little bit. I'm not great at steering wheelies. Actually, I suck tremendously at it, but I will swerve one every now and then. Every now and then I'll do it. And the real mission is to go to town and get my laptop. I left my laptop at work yesterday because I don't know why. I should have brought it with me. I know why I didn't bring it, because I was going by the remote control air show and I didn't want to have the laptop bag just laying out there for somebody to throw or step on or steal. And so I left it at the drugstore and said I'll just swing back through there later. And this is later. Tell you what, I might try the first wheelie of the day at the top of this hill here. The motorcycle's warmed up, things good, back brake is good. I didn't get up all the way. It sucked. I give it a 3. That was much better. Yeah, that one is 6. I didn't have much room because I'm right here at the highway, so I cut it short on purpose. I could have probably kept riding it. I thought learning wheelies would be super quick and easy if I just dedicated my time to it. But as it turns out, you can't really do a whole bunch of them in a row because you get sort of tired and your clutch hand wears out, your focus goes, you start making worse and worse wheelies. Like, I'm right in the middle of that progression where I know just enough to kind of know what I was missing on the previous ones, but still not experienced enough to know what's coming on the next ones. Like, the next sort of mindfuck breakthrough that happens whenever I figure out whatever I figure out next. Like, the little nuances start to come into focus. You know, when you go from pure novice to beginner to intermediate, and I really don't know where I'm at because I haven't hit like some sort of masterful level yet. But it's something that I'm working toward, and now that I know that it doesn't take like 2 weeks to figure it out, I'll be just kind of chipping away at it from here on out. You know, that's sort of my goal. To do a few every day that I ride. That's going to be a much better way to practice. Like, if you always do a cold wheelie, like, I know warming up and getting ready to do it is the way to do it, but I learned something from he's a professional shooter, lives down the road from me. His name's Jerry Miculek. You guys might know him. If you're a shooter guy, you definitely know who Jerry is. Well, Jerry let us use his gun range back when I shot, you know, semi-professionally back in amateur division. So I was running a match with my friend. That has a huge circular tangent connection there. My friend that I ran the match with, he was like a wheelie god, you know. He could just walk one out on anything. Like, he was that guy. And he passed away from a brain cancer. But anyway, Brandon was a wheelie guy, so I kind of thought, I want to learn wheelies like Brandon knew wheelies. Is when I kind of started this whole endeavor. That was sort of a shower thought that I had about it. Anyway, full circle. Jerry, one day, we were out there setting up a match, and it took all day to set up these targets and things. And Jerry would come by. You know, we weren't hanging out with him. We were doing our own thing. He told us you can use the range. He said, just put everything back where you found it, just like it was. Jerry, we would come by on his little scooter or whatever. And then you'd hear like 30 shots. Pow, 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 pow. He'd do some kind of drill. You could see sometimes he would have a rifle. Sometimes he had some pistols. Just, he always had sort of a different gun with him, and he would ride by, and then you'd see him out mowing the grass. And then an hour later, he'd come by with another something. You'd hear pow, 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 pow. So anyway, this went on through the whole day. You know, Jerry was doing his chores, and he would go do a little practice. And so later that night, we was hanging out with him, and like, we were the only ones really staying there because we were getting shit ready for the match. Nobody had really arrived. So we were camping on the premises, and he came out and hung out at our camp. And again, if you don't know Jerry is just a master Jedi level shooter. Like, that is his profession. He is a professional shooter, and he shoots things professionally. Very few people in the world that can say that, but that's Jerry's claim to fame, and he's good at it. World record holder on many fronts. We was asking, you know, like, what are you doing with, like, you come by and shoot 20 rounds and then, like, Are you testing out guns? And he was like, no, man, that's how I practice. He said, you take 1,000 rounds and you go stand in front of the target and you shoot all 1,000 rounds. He said, you know, maybe you pick up something, maybe. He said, but if you'll take that same 1,000 rounds and go shoot them 100 at a time, only shoot 100 10 times, he said you'll probably get 10 times the amount of practice out of that. Same thing when you he said when you go to a match, he said you step onto a stage cold. He said you're not warmed up, you haven't just shot a whole bunch of rounds. He said, so I practice like I play. I come out cold, I do my drills cold, and that's it. He said about the time I warm up is when I stop. And it just like such a revelation, light bulb moment kind of went off with me when he was explaining this sort of practice philosophy to us. I'm listening intently because I would love to be as good as Jerry is, and so I've incorporated that into everything that I do as far as practicing and learning. Like here, we're going to try one right here. What do you think? Woohoo, good wheelie. I'm riding it. Yeah, drop back. So yeah, you throw one in there every now and then and you're good. And I kind of realized it out here. I was doing multiple wheelies out here, just one after another, and I was getting like a tendonitis in my elbow, blisters on my fingers. At a point I was like, damn, I should practice wheelies like Jerry practices shooting. Just throw one out every now and then when I'm fresh and relaxed mentally and everything is good. Oh, I didn't rate that wheelie. That wheelie was probably an 8. I was in full control. I held it in the balance point. I dipped it back a little. I caught it at the balance point again, and then I veered slightly though. So then I revved it out at the end. So -1 for veering slightly and -1 for revving it out at the end. You know, it is what it is. But I just wanted to share that bit of practice philosophy, let you know what that feels like, looks like, and maybe you can incorporate it into something that you're practicing in your life. And I'm just happy to share that freebie with you. You know, Jerry was kind enough to share that with us. He's a nice guy. Should I try another one? I'm just going to do one out here on the ramp. Still a bit of water there. I don't know if I want to wheelie over the cables. They have these cables across the ground here with the aircraft tie down stuff. It could have like a stray strand of steel. They're steel cables, so if they get damaged and rust, they could pop up and puncture a tire. So I'm always careful not to ride over those too much. Oh, I lost it. 6. Give it a 6. One more across the apron. How about it? Oh, I was going too fast and didn't stand up. There we go. Not too bad. And then we'll do a little skid out. How about that? Anti-lock brakes off. I was running out of room there. I seen that was short, but I wanted to throw one anyway since I wasn't out on a public road. I prefer to do all my wheelie practice in a private, closed traffic area such as this airport apron. And I'm not recommending that you guys go do wheelies at the airport apron, but that's what I was thinking about. I took a detour. When you ride motorcycles, you can take detours quite easily and joyfully. I would never like just drive through this little neighborhood in my truck to go up to the drugstore, but I certainly am going to do it on this motorcycle here. That's one of the coolest things about motorcycles is just taking like some different ways to see and do some different things. Hey, I know that guy in that wheelchair. It's pretty cool. Hey, what do you know? We're in a private parking lot. Hell, I'm actually a tenant here. That's pretty funny. Start doing wheelies and stuff. I am going to get away from all the vehicles though. I don't want to do anything like where it looks risky. But out here we're probably pretty good, huh? That was a good wheelie. Morning. Or it's afternoon. I believe we afternoon at this point.
I was morning to somebody and I was like, wait, I think it's afternoon.
It is. And I got up early, so that's strange that I would say that. There she blows. Look, I unzipped it to pull it out. Never even got the chance. I should have plugged it in though. It would have been helpful. Alrighty. Mission completed. Oh, it feels cooler outside than it does inside. That's pretty cool. Oh, it was breakfast. Brunch. I had brunch. I'm gonna call it brunch just like it was. I usually don't eat early, but I'll tell you what I did. I messed up. I had some hamburger meat. I'm gonna grill some hamburgers last night, right? Well, it was rainy and I pulled the hamburgers out, and I pulled them out earlier in the day and let the meat thaw, but it wasn't thawed out all the way when I went to make the burgers. So I went to the burgers and I passed out. I went like laid down to play on the phone or something for just a minute, and then poof, there it was, wee morning hours. I was out cold. Long day at work. So I jumped out of bed at like 6:30 this morning, like before daylight. Run into the kitchen, and my son had covered the hamburger meat so that it was sealed up, but it was done warming up, you know. I was like, oh my God, I was at the very limits of leaving hamburger meat out all night and then doing anything with it. You know, realistically, it had only been like a few hours since it was ice cold, so I was happy with spicing it up. So I made some early morning hamburgers, but I didn't want to grill them hard and fast, so I smoked them. And I think it may be the first time I did smoked hamburgers, and I couldn't not eat one, so I ate one, and it was delicious, and I'm glad I did. I just wanted to share that with you. Let's roll. I'm pretty sure I did, but I always check that bitch. I used to check it. I used to have to come up here. I had like OCD about it. I'd have the OCD about it, and I'd have to come up here and check it, and that was frustrating, but still did it. One more parking lot wheelie. Fun times. I was going towards that light pole. I had to cut her short. Let's get out of here, huh? Go the long way home. Is that what we like to do? That's what I like to do. It's like drinking beers, you know, to and through. I'm speeding. You forget that this little motorcycle is still easily able to accelerate into the death realm in a relatively short amount of time. So there's that. Oh man, I should have got some drugs I need to deliver to this guy, but maybe another day. I'm not going back up there and fiddling with it again. It's too fiddly. It's too fiddly, and they've gotten out of church at this point, and they're about to be getting out of dinner, and they're going to be full and like insulin comas, and they're just going to be turning left in front of me all over the place like crazy. It's going to be wild. No, I'm not turning. I'm going to go. I remembered I was going the long way home, so I didn't have to take the bumpy ass roads. You ever heard of this one? It's called a SMIDSy, or a SMIDSy maneuver. A SMID, when somebody says, sorry mate, I didn't see you. It's an acronym. I didn't learn that one until recently, and I've been riding for like 40 years. You know, I almost bought a moped. Like when I actually started looking around for something to ride, I was like, yeah, two-wheeler. You know, I tried unicycles and e-bikes, and I've just had nothing but trouble out of e-devices, like battery-powered this and that. Anytime I've had battery-powered this or that, where's my friend's house at? Well, he was my friend. He's passed on, but that was his house. I think his wife might still live there. Okay, thought he was going to turn left for sure. This one, you know where to turn left, so I just expect them to weave over into my lane. Oh, golf cart for sale. Wonder what they want for it. Wrong gear. Also, I need a disabled ABS. I've done that a few times. I wonder if Daddy's home. The other day, this is the road I grew up on. Well, for the, you know, my maturation. I think I moved out here when I was around 12. And when we moved out here, there was none of these houses. This was all forest. And we had to drive down this like spooky forest road. It was dirt. It wasn't even paved when we moved in. I remember when they paved it. That house at the end of the road was the only one here. That's Hernsberger's. And we bought this lot here, and that's Daddy's house. Woohoo! Nooner, baby, nooner. Ooh, that went to the right. I didn't like that one at all. And then peaks here. That was the last house that went in. The last house. This is the third house. That was the third house. Then all these just sort of popped up in the same few years. It was, man, it's like popcorn seeds going off. Like pop, 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 pop. Yeah, that's kind of how the house is built out here. I mean, all these were my hunting woods. Like I went hunting in this, like where all these houses are, and like this place across the street here. Oh shit, they're clearing it again. Damn, this is a pretty wild, like, full circle thing. This little patch of woods here, I've quite literally watched this little patch of woods get bulldozed. It grew up into another patch of woods. And then this is the second time that it's gotten bulldozed. It's just interesting how quick things change. You know, when you're a teenager or 20 years old, you don't realize just how different the world gets in, you know, 10 or 20 years, because you've only seen a few years of it. But here I am at, you know, approaching a half a century, and, you know, you see how the world fluxes and changes so much. I just think it's fascinating. The difference in perspective I have on everything as I got older. Probably why there's age limits on things. This is a pretty road. I didn't get up there quick enough. I went to the left. Third tries the charm, right? Woo-hoo-hoo, there we go. You know, I'm wearing jogging pants and a hoodie, and that's, I'm usually in jeans, and they grip the seat a lot more. Like I'm sliding around the seat quite a bit more just because of my clothing options. And that's a little different. I got armor on under this stuff too, though, so don't judge. I'm wearing full gear. It's just the kind that goes under the sweatsuit, which I'm about to ditch. It's about 70 now. gotta be pretty outside today. It's exciting how pretty it is. Like, I've made a bunch of these vlogs and made sure there was audio on them, but I've not actually put them in the editor yet and started hacking them apart to see what's fucked up and what's not. Maybe they made some okay vlogs, maybe they all suck. I needed the computer to find out, and that's what I'm about to do. Rather than just film the boring ride home, I might just cut it here on the straightaway, doing the speed limit, and then we'll catch you guys real soon on the next one. Thanks for coming along with me on my motorcycle vlog ride. Love you guys. Cal out.